So you've got plans. Big plans. You want to build something meaningful, master a skill, and finally reach that version of yourself you picture in your head. But there's a wall. You know the exact steps you need to take, yet you find yourself frozen, staring at a screen, scrolling endlessly. Days slip into weeks, and that quiet voice of potential gets buried under a heavy blanket of guilt. You tell yourself you'll fix it tomorrow. Then next week. Before you know it, you're watching another productivity video, promising that this time will be different. Most advice tells you to just be disciplined or grind harder. They tell you to delete your apps, lock your phone, and lock in. While those things help for about 3 days, they completely miss the real issue. You aren't inherently lazy. You're just trapped. To understand why, we have to look outside of psychology and look at basic physics. In physics, inertia is the tendency for objects at rest to stay at rest, and objects in motion to stay in motion, unless acted upon by an outside force. This is Newton's first law, and it applies just as much to human behavior as it does to planets and billiard balls. When you look at a massive task like launching a project, studying for an exam, or clearing out months of clutter, your brain perceives it as a massive, immobile boulder. The mental energy required to move it feels catastrophic. So, what does your brain do? It chooses comfort. It chooses cheap dopamine to escape the sheer weight of that inertia. If inertia is the problem, momentum is the cure. But you can't build momentum without breaking that initial state of rest, and that initial push is always the hardest part. The mistake we make is making the starting line way too high. We don't just want to write, we want to write a whole chapter. We don't just want to clean, we want to deep clean the entire house. When the stakes are that high, your brain panics and shuts down. To break inertia, you have to drastically reduce the stakes. The micro-step method. If you need to study, don't tell yourself you're going to study for 3 hours. Tell yourself you are going to open the textbook and read one single paragraph. If you need to code, tell yourself you're just going to open your IDE and write 3 lines. The goal isn't to finish the work, the goal is simply to make starting so ridiculously easy that your brain doesn't have an excuse to resist. The 2-minute rule. Borrowing from the brilliant concept popularized by productivity experts, commit to doing the task for just 2 minutes, with full permission to stop after that time is up. Don't feel like going for a run? Put on your running shoes, step outside the door, and walk for 2 minutes. If you want to turn back, go ahead. Dreading answering your emails? Open the inbox and reply to just one. Here is where the magic happens. Once you trick your brain into starting, Newton's law works in your favor. Objects in motion stay in motion. Getting over that initial hump feels like pushing a heavy boulder up a steep hill. But the moment you crest that hill, gravity takes over. Momentum kicks in, and the work suddenly becomes exponentially easier to sustain. Usually, once those 2 minutes are up, you won't want to stop. You've already broken through the friction. The hardest part, the friction of starting, is already behind you. Next time you find yourself paralyzed by a mountain of tasks, stop waiting for motivation to strike. Motivation doesn't create action, action creates motivation. Drop the grand expectations. Lower the bar so low that you literally cannot fail to step over it. As Martin Luther King once said, "You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step." Give yourself permission to take a tiny, almost embarrassing step today. The rest will follow.